What's up everybody, my name is Elliott, but you can call me the Motory Notary. And today, one of my favorite automotive events, the Great Race, is here in my hometown of Wichita, Kansas. The Great Race is a cross-country vintage car rally, and when I say cross-country, I really mean all the way across. And it's not like the Hot Rod Power Tour where it's a cruise. No, this is a regular, bona fide, regulated rally with some serious cash on the other end. Now, I have some familiarity with the event because when I was a kid, my dad and uncle used to participate in it. And then when I got old enough, I got to do a few great races with my dad as well. And many of the times we participated, it was in this very 1954 Corvette that you see behind me. If you'd like to know more information about how the Great Race works or any of my experiences on it, I did a great video on VinWiki explaining some of the fun tales and a little bit of how it works. So be sure to check that out. I'll have it linked below. But for now, we've been asked to bring the 1954 Corvette down to the finish line as kind of an honorary attendee because it is a Great Race alumni, much like my dad, uncle, and I are. So we're gonna take this car down there, go check out some of the cool cars as they come across the finish line, and just have a look around. There's always some really cool, interesting stuff on the race. Also, be sure to stay tuned to the end of this episode as I've got a really cool opportunity for you guys to win some VIP tickets to the Worldwide Auctioneers Auburn auction. Now, I'll be there doing my TV thing like normal, but I'd love to see some of you guys down there, and I've got some free tickets for you. Oh, also, they're gonna be selling a Corvette just like this one, a red 1954 on Friday. So that's gonna be really exciting. So stay tuned to the end of the episode and I'll have more details about how to get those tickets. But for now, let's get the 54 Corvette out in this 100+ degree heat and go see some cool cars as they come across the finish line. Well guys, we made it. It's like 103 degrees here in Wichita, but we are here at the Great Race finish line for their Wichita stop. The cars are coming in from Joplin. We drove the 1954 Corvette here because that's our famous Great Race car. We've been asked to be here as kind of Great Race alumni. My dad, my uncle, and I have all done the Great Race together, and a lot of times it was in that car. And now we get to be here to watch and welcome the guys into our hometown of Wichita. Now, of course, we did have a minor bit of car trouble getting here because it is 103 degrees and it is an old car. We did overheat just over there, almost walking distance from the finish line, but we let the car cool down a little bit and now we're here. So let's go check out the 54 Corvette kind of in its old Great Race garb, and then we'll watch the cars come into the finish line and check out some of the neat rides that are doing this awesome vintage car rally. Let's go check it out. See, it's very surreal. We used to come in through that. I'm not used to seeing the setup because this stuff is usually set up by the time you get here. That's the entire point. But it's kind of cool to see the behind the scenes stuff. Luckily, that's the world's quietest generator. But look, just over here, there is the 54 Corvette ready to go. It kind of looks like it did back when the Great Race was going on. A few less stickers, but we've got our actual car number and everything going on. And as you can see over here, this car used to be on the front of the program when we used to run it. So it's kind of hard to see, but that's pretty cool. And yeah, we're gonna get to see these guys come in, say hi to a few old friends, but most of all, see some really unique cars that have actually been driving across the country. All right, it looks like the first car's getting ready to come in here. We had to reorient the 54 Corvette because apparently it'll make more sense to fit more cars in here, but this will be cool. Here we go. Look at the size of the crowd that gathered in between now and then. All these guys being very smart in the shade, unlike me baking out here. If you want to get the good views, sometimes you gotta sweat. So let's check out these cars. Oh man, check out what's coming in here. One of my favorites. An Auburn boat tail speedster. Look at that. This is why I love the Great Race. Those just stay in collections, but apparently that one is gonna drive across the country. That's pretty cool. A little bit of everything here. Look at that. Look at the pageantry coming up here. And a really cool car. I love that thing. That thing's open valve, sputtering and popping. Oh, it gets me going. Each one of those pops is like a gunshot. And I don't think it has reverse, which is why he's continuing on that way. It's probably as close as we're gonna get to this thing, but look at that. Open valves. Huge chain drive. Look at that. Oh. Can you imagine? Like, stuff's just getting in there. I mean, this takes some serious stones to drive this thing. I love this car. Look at all this, because this, I mean, no valve cover, so you just get stuff everywhere. You're just getting coated. And then, of course, you got chain oil slinging on you, too. This thing rules. There's a big dog. Big greyhound. Also a warm boy. See, car events are for everyone, even your dog. And you might wonder what is around my neck. I kind of have like a Great Race medallion, considering it like identification that I've done this before. Not exactly stolen valor, because I have done the Great Race a number of times. I'm not doing it this year. So that's kind of what we're doing with that. And now I'm gonna get a sweet tan from having a ribbon on. That'll be an interesting one. Now, like I said, the motto of this is to finish is to win. And we've got a GTO behind me that I think got a little hot, or it succumbed to the Kansas heat. So, well, you get pushed across the finish line. But he's still here, so that's saying something. Yep. Not the way you want to enter town, but again, at least they're still in one piece, and they could probably fix it overnight. Who knows? Cars are still coming in, but I figured I'd take you around and show you a few of my favorites that are parked now. This has been so cool and different being on this side of this event. Look, somebody's made a full Grease Lightning replica from the movie Grease. Very thematic. Some of these cars have themes, and obviously that's one of them. This is a car that was running back when I was too. I think it's a 34 Ford Indy car, and I just love this. I love Indy cars, obviously a two-seater, but still has the flat head, the leather holding down the hood. I love this car. I still have pictures of this on one of my old digital cameras because I thought it was cool when I was a kid, and turns out as an adult, I still find it really, really cool. Prior to that American LaFrance coming in, this still is probably my favorite car, or tied for my favorite car, an Auburn Boat Tail Speedster. Now, if you remember from my auction coverage in Auburn, Indiana, that's where these were made. These are very expensive, very rare, crazy cars. I mean, we're talking like $500,000. The last one that I saw go across the auction went for like $765,000. So let's just say this car is very special and very valuable, but here it is. But here it is, driving across the country. That is absolutely nuts to me, but let's take a look how beautiful this thing is. Oh. Look at that. The color is incredible. The windshield alone is one of my favorite parts about these cars. Ooh. And then here's your boat tail. That's why it's called that. Very much love this car. Now, speaking of themed cars, here's another one. Obviously, this team is from Maine because, well, look, it's covered in lobster claws. Lobster. Even on the back. Got a big lobster tail and the word Maine. Now that's some state pride if I've ever seen it. Now, one of the things I have liked about this event that they didn't do back when we were doing it is a lot of the cars have the route stickered on the back so you can actually see. If, you know, you're just a spectator, be like, where are you all coming from? Well, look, this year they're coming from St. Augustine, Florida, going all the way. Here we are in Wichita, and then they're going all the way to Pueblo, Colorado. That's something they didn't used to do, so that's pretty cool. And it looks good on the back of the cars, actually. Now, here's a Studebaker Hawk, and look at the bumper on this thing. I mean, here's my hand. It is, you could basically sit on this thing. It's like a park bench. That's insane. Behind me is another Auburn. This is an Auburn 8. It's a four-door convertible. Very cool car, also from Auburn, Indiana. Right behind me is another really cool car, and you'll see I'm a fan of these Indy cars. This is a 1916 Hudson Speedster. Yes, 1916. Look at this thing. And you can see again the boat tail design. Look how the driver and navigator are staggered because the cockpit is so narrow. Driver's up here, passenger back here. That's just about the only way two people are going to fit in this cockpit. Now, this is pretty cool. I think this is like a Hudson pickup truck. That's something you don't see very often, that's for sure. And look at this engine. It's like perfect, even though it's been driving across the country. Whew. That is amazing. Now, a lot of these cars have been converted to 12 volt. That's why this has an alternator instead of a generator. But you're allowed to do modifications that improve reliability, because a lot of these guys just wouldn't make it if they didn't convert to a 12 volt system to have an electric fan on 100-degree days such as this. I do love that this carbon Ghia has a little wind-up thing like a toy car. That's cute, that's funny, kind of thematic. Okay, saw this one come in too. Corvette 70 with what appears to be a big block car. Oh, that is awesome. Yep, right there, big block car. And if you guys notice, a Volvo. Look, see, back when I was doing it, no Volvos were old enough to really do the Great Race, but here's one, and this thing is awesome. You can tell from the amount of stuff they have in the back that they don't have a support crew. But real quick, back to the Corvette. One of the things that they do on this Great Race, because it's a time, speed, distance rally, again, watch my VinWiki story about it. I explain how it works a little bit better, but look, in here, you can see they have this giant speedometer that only goes up to 50, you notice. That is a highly accurate rally speedometer because this is a time, speed, distance rally. In fact, you actually have to cover up your factory speedometers on these cars, and everybody has to use that time-wise speedometer. It keeps everything a little bit more even, a little bit more fair, but mostly keeps things accurate because accuracy is the name of the game in this race. Like I said, back when we were doing this, the cutoff was 1954, so it's interesting to see these newer cars with some of them have air conditioning and creature comforts. Even stuff like this. Look at this. A 356 Speedster that has been heavily modified by appearance here. It's so cool though. Wow. And see, you're not allowed to have digital clocks, which is why a lot of times you'll see these kitchen clocks in there. That's just the way it is. You're allowed a kitchen clock and a stopwatch. Your cell phone goes in a bag in the car. Your electronics are in the bag in the car, and you can't even have a wristwatch that's not wind up. This is a no electronics allowed time, speed, distance rally. It really keeps things honest and it makes things interesting. And for a lot of these people, I imagine it's a good techno vacation or whatever they call those. Now, cars have started to pile up on the grass back here, which is pretty interesting. I was actually wondering how they were going to do the parking around here, but normally, again, wasn't something we had to worry about, but here we are. Ooh, now there's not a crowd around that American LaFrance. Check this thing out. Now, I already showed you the other side of this thing with the open valves, which I guess you can see here as well, but look, it's just straight out of the cylinders, and look at these things. They are the size of coffee cans. I mean, this thing is so freaking cool. Like I said, it's a hard choice between this and that Auburn Bowtail Speedster, but this, something about this is just the coolest to me. I mean, look at all the grease slinging from this massive chain. I mean, look at the size of my hand and the size of this chain. Oh my God, it takes a real man to drive this car. Now, I know Tyler just sold his, but look, here's somebody actually using their Shelby GT350H. Look, it's actually doing a competition, and it even has racing seats in a cage. I haven't seen one of these do the Great Race before, again, because they weren't allowed back when I was doing it, but it's good to see one out and about, and that one is real, so that's pretty neat. Oh, I found another IndyCar / boat tail car. Check this out. Now, look, this one is based on a Model A because, well, look, this is just your stock Model A engine, but the rest of it is all added lightness. Look at this. Well, except for these massive horns, apparently. But look at this wooden boat tail thing, and it goes on forever. But what you're left with is a very cool looking old vintage racer. Look at this thing. Wow. You know, all you Honda kids who have your quick disconnect steering wheels like race car drivers, check this out. This is how they used to do it. That would be your quick disconnect steering wheel for race cars, but 1920s style. That you never see, and I bet that's pretty darn expensive. Wow. I've kind of shown you some of my favorite cars. This is really neat. It's a really cool event. It's worth looking into, or at the very least, watching my VinWiki story where I explain my experiences on the Great Race. It's such an event, and I think I got to get Jacob together, and he and I just need to do this again because this has been really cool. It's brought back a lot of old memories for me. I think I got to get back into the Great Race. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments. But for now, I think I'm going to toss it back to the studio to a version of myself that has been rested and air conditioned. All right, see you guys back there. All right, keep coming. Well, that was seriously super neat. And aside from it being like 1,000,000 degrees outside, that was absolutely amazing. The amount of memories that flooded back to me when I saw some of those cars and just got to be in that environment again, it was wild. And doing it with my dad and my uncle, couldn't have been better. And the car actually ran great after it overheated the first time, so obviously it made it back here just fine. Now, like I said, I do have an opportunity for you guys to win VIP tickets to the Auburn auction for Worldwide Auctioneers. Now, this is their big auction. It's got a ton of stuff going on, and they have so many cars, hundreds of cars, but all of the cars are the best, and it's such a neat event. And trust me, one day isn't gonna do it. You're gonna wanna do all three. Now, all you have to do to get some of these tickets from me is get my attention. Follow me on any of my social medias, Instagram, Facebook, join my Facebook group like I always tell you about, and get my attention. Send me a DM, tag me in a comment on one of my own posts, and I will get in contact with you and tell you how you can get one of these tickets to the Auburn, Indiana auction for Worldwide Auctioneers. Now, like I said, I would love for you guys all to tune in even if you can't be there, because we do an awesome, fun live broadcast with my co-host Kayla, and sometimes we get to drive the cars up on stage. It's just so fun. Please tune in even if you can't go, but if you're even remotely in the Auburn, Indiana area, hit me up. I'll get a ticket for you. I'd love to see you there. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning into this kind of fun random one. I'll be back more next week with more stuff, and I always appreciate you watching. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe on this video because it greatly helps my YouTube performance. And other than that, I'll either see you in Auburn or I'll certainly see you on the next video.